Join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everyone. It's nice to see so many people. I turned to Tom and I said, what did you do wrong to have this many people here? I'm just kidding. Good morning. My name is Andy Hunthausen. This is our last meeting of the year, December 31st, 2024, Board of County Commissioners. To my left, Tom Rolfe, County Commissioner.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman.
Tom's left, Brandy Spangler. She'll be taking care of us today. To my right, Commissioner Candace Payne. And to her right, Deputy County Attorney Nico Hash. Good morning. And Roger Baltz, our Chief Administrative Officer. Believe it or not, there is a sign-in sheet in the front as well as agendas, and not right now, but before you leave, we're going to take a break after the swearing-in part. Make sure you sign in so we have a good record of who's attended our public meeting today. And again, I welcome all of you. This is great and a special time for us, and actually a special time for me. We have one item to take care of prior to the swearing in. I think we're going to, on the agenda anyway, Mr. Baltz, we're going to take care of our consent action items.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. This is item 2A on the agenda. It is Resolution 2024-123, declaring county property surplus property. Staff recommends approval of that item. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Questions for Mr. Baltz? Any public comment on the consent action item? Any public comment? Hearing none, is there a motion, please?
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve consent action item 2A as presented by Roger Baltz.
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Moved and seconded to approve consent as presented. Further discussion, Commissioners? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. All right. Now we're on to our fun. So this is something that we do after each election, that there's a new batch of county officials, in this case, that have been elected in November, and we have 3 today. You'll get introduced to them as we go here, but I want to introduce Judge Abbott. District Court Judge Abbott's going to be swearing us in today, and I think I'm first, right? So as he comes up, I'll just give you a kind of lay of the land here. He's going to swear each of us in, each candidate or each elected official now will have an opportunity to say a few words, and just inviting the family. This is pretty cash. You family and friends, you're welcome to clap, whatever you want. If there's someone's in your group that wants to take pictures, you're welcome to mill around, take pictures, even come up inside the fence here and take pictures this way if you'd like. You're more than welcome to do that. And what's going to happen after the 3 swearing in, we will take a recess and have a little reception. Families can take some pictures up here, whatever you'd like to do. Congratulate folks, say hello to those in the audience, and then we have a few refreshments out in the hallway, and then we'll reconvene after that short reception. So I think I'm first, right? All right, on my way.
All right. So if you could please raise your right hand and follow along with me. I state your name.
I, Andy Hunthausen,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support, protect, and defend
that I will support, protect, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Montana,
and the Constitution of the State of Montana,
and that I will discharge the duties of my office,
and I will discharge the duties of my office,
County Commissioner for Lewis and Clark County,
County Commissioner for Lewis and Clark County,
State of Montana,
State of Montana,
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
So help me God.
So help me God. Thank you very much.
Oh, seems there. All right. And next we have Lisa Callio, our brand new clerk of district court. And actually, I should have asked, Commissioner, do you want to say anything?
Well, if you want to do it after, either way.
Okay, we can do swearings in. I'll give you a chance if you want. All right, come on up. We can do it either way. All right. Please raise your right hand and state after me. I state your name.
I, Lisa Callio,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support, protect, and defend
that I will support, protect, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Montana,
and the Constitution of the State of Montana,
and that I will discharge the duties of my office,
and that I will discharge the duties of my office,
Clerk of Court for Lewis and Clark County,
Clerk of Court for Lewis and Clark County,
State of Montana,
State of Montana,
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
So help me God.
So help me.
Congratulations. Great. And last but not least, the Honorable Mark Piscalich. All right, you raise your right hand and state after me. I state your name.
I, Mark Piscalich,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support, protect, and defend
that I will support, protect, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Montana,
and the Constitution of the State of Montana,
and that I will discharge the duties of my office,
and that I will discharge the duties of my office,
Justice of the Peace for Lewis and Clark County,
Justice of the Peace for Lewis and Clark County,
State of Montana,
State of Montana,
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Right there. All right, yeah. If you'd like to say a few
That
words.
wasn't supposed to put that back. Is it back like this? Oh, we have to do that because it needs to be mic'd. And it only goes one way. I just want to, first of all, thank my wife of coming up on 24 years, Pam, and for all support and being there for me. I wouldn't be here without her. Also like to thank Tom Bremer. Stand up over there, Tom. Just recently promoted as my supervisory clerk. The second justice court would not be up and running without Tom. And so very appreciative to him. And of course, Judge Swingley's helped me out a lot too. Looking forward to 4 more years serving the county. And thank you.
I just want to say thanks to my family, Rob, on Keith, Dad, Mom, Carol, Rachel, Butch, Lindsay, my friend, for all the support and my continuing service to the county as the clerk of district court. Thank you.
Well, I'm usually really shy, but this one time I'll say something. Judge, thank you very much. Appreciate you being here, and it's quite an honor. And congratulations to the others that have been sworn in. Way to go. It's about gratitude, and I really am so grateful to be here again. This is my 4th swearing in, and it's quite an honor to serve this community and to serve with the other elected officials, the judges, my partners up here. I have 2 former partners in the field out here, Commissioner McCormick, Commissioner Murray. Commissioner Murray, I label him, whether he likes it or not, as one of my mentors. I don't know if that's good or bad, but I think it's pretty good. So, and there's several other elected officials in the room, and I really appreciate working with all of you. But one of the things I am most grateful for is the people that I get to work with every day that really run this place. And that's the staff and the folks that do the hard work on the ground. And I can't say enough about the people that I work with, so many in the room that are so good, so talented, so professional, and we have a great county, and I think we do great work. Nothing's perfect, but we have wonderful people that are working hard every day and very dedicated to the county, and I'm glad to be part of that and to be in the mix. So a lot of gratitude. I hope that my fingerprint on this whole thing is a positive one. My mission is to try and do the next right thing and try to be a good person, doing good work and staying positive. And that's my That's my mission and goal. And I think that overall, we've been on that track. So I am just really grateful to be here. I want to point out a couple other people on my team here. I've got this front row over here of sister, niece, and 4 great nieces and nephews right here. So you guys, thank you for coming. And then my wife, Pam, and we'll be 30 years this year. This election's a lot more sure. She tells me every day I'm still on probation. So I hope we'll make it. I think we'll be there 30 years in August. So anyway, I'm so appreciative to be here and be part of this. And thank you all. I see many of our partners from the city as well. And it's great to have that partnership going and continue that partnership. And I appreciate it. Judge, thanks again for being here. And we'll take a break and have some fun. Enjoy our time. The next item on the agenda is a bid award for the Head Lane Bridge beams. Good morning.
Mr. Chairman Hunthausen, good morning. Commissioner Rolfe, good morning. Commissioner Payne, good morning to you as well.
Good morning.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, my name is Kevin Horne. Spelling on that is first name Kevin, K-E-V-I-N. Last name is Horne, H-O-R-N-E. I'm the Operations Manager for Lewis and Clark County Public Works Department. Mr. Chair, Commissioners, I'd like to draw your attention to item number 4 on today's agenda. It is entitled Bid Award Head Lane Bridge Beams. On December 12, 2024, one bid was opened for the purchase of a precast, pre-stressed concrete tri-deck beam for the Head Lane Bridge project. This is a Montana Coal Endowment Program project. The bridge structure will span 54 feet with a total width of 31 feet 4 inches. This bid is only for the fabrication and shipping of the beams. A separate invitation to bid will be let in early 2025 to select a construction contractor to construct the project. Funding is from a combination of $379,930 in Montana Coal Endowment Program funds and $379,930 from Senate Bill 536 Local Discretionary Grant Non-Federal Matching Funds. That total is $759,860. Staff recommends awarding the base bid to the low bidder, Rinker Materials of Helena, Montana, for a sum of $117,638.50 and authorize the chair to sign all applicable purchase documents. And Mr. Chairman, I also have the award letter. With your recommendation, I could also read that into the record if you'd like.
Please.
This is dated on December 31st, 2024. It is addressed to Mike Meredith, Sales Manager for Rinker Materials, 2001 North Bend Avenue, Helena, Montana, 59601. Dear Mr. Meredith, this letter shall serve as notification that Rinker Materials is the successful bidder for the Head Lane Bridge pre-stressed concrete beam supply purchase for the base bid sum of $117,638.50. Per bid documents, delivery of the beams to the project site must take place between July 1st, 2025 and October 1st, 2025 to comply with Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks 124 permit requirements. Coordination of the beam delivery must be made with county-selected construction contractor. A representative from Rinker Materials will be invited to the pre-bid meeting prior to the county selecting the construction contractor to discuss the project. Thank you for participating in the county's bid process. We look forward to working with you. Sincerely, Andy Hunthausen, Chair, Board of County Commissioners.
Thank you, Mr. Horne. Appreciate it. Commissioners, questions for Mr. Horne? Just for public's interest, we have some in the room today, of course, some watching on TV. We know exactly what we're doing today in terms of this beam selection process. but they may not know. Just kind of an overview of the whole project and what we're doing at Head Lane.
Mr. Chair, sure, yes. The Head Lane Bridge project has been restricted for, I can't even tell you how many years, I think upwards of 10. Our consultants, Great West, have done a design on it. The design calls for these pre-stressed concrete beams. We went out to bid early, knowing that delivery times are quite a ways out on manufacturing these beams. So we anticipate on the dates that we're given, we'll be going out for bid advertisement very soon to select a contractor to construct the project. And this is part of that. They will be delivered within this time frame due to the permit regulations that are needed on that. It's going to be a nice structure, well needed on that travel area. So other than that, I don't know if I can answer any more questions. I will say too that it's 50% funded, as I noted in Senate Bill 536, and 50% funded for the Montana Coal Endowment Project, which is very good for us because we don't have to use any county funding out of our bridge infrastructure fund.
Right. Very good point. Commissioner Payne.
Kevin, I'm sure you're aware we've recently had a bridge fight up by Augusta. The Department of Transportation, they're the big dog in this fight, told us if the county didn't stop the heavy duty traffic on that bridge, they were going to close it permanently. And the bridge, it's the only way into that area. And so the county took appropriate steps, and they can't get those big hay trucks across there anymore because the county put up barriers. So you have to, if you've got a standard sized car or ambulance or police car, it can get through, but a hay truck can't. Part of the angst up there is that why can't we get that bridge fixed right now? We need that. We need to get in there. How many bridges do you have? First of all, how many bridges in the county, and how many bridges need significant work, and how far from the top? I mean, was Head Lane number 1 on the list, or was it number 17? There.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Payne, very, very good questions. I'm going to try to roll off some memory here to help answer your questions.
It was a test.
First of all, the Birdtail Bridge in the Augusta country. Any of our bridges over 20 feet are inspected by the state of Montana, their bridge bureau. So that is some of the reasoning why they were notified of the closure. We did build the serpentine to maintain access, but yet restrict the limited loads on that bridge. I will be in front of the commission on the 9th talking more in detail about that bridge specifically. As far as the ranking goes, we have 6% of our bridges. We have 110 structures total within Lewis and Clark County. 6% of those are over 80 years old, and 21% of those are over 60 years old. I can't tell the exact amount of restrictions off the top of my head, but the majority of the ones that are over 60 do have some sort of restriction in some way, shape, or form.
Thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner. Anything else? Great overview. I just wanted to make sure that people understood this is part of a long saga, this bridge. It's been restricted for quite a while. We were able to get state funding for all of it, essentially, which is great for the local taxpayer. Still taxpayer funded, but local taxpayer is not on the hook for this one. And we're ready to move forward and get these pieces in place. So general timeline for this completion of this project. I know this is just a piece of it, but.
Mr. Chair, very good question. The permits that we have for this project, as noted, are from July 1st to October 1st. So any in-stream work that has to happen on that project has to happen within that time frame. Once we advertise for bid and select a contractor, we'll be able to work with them on what their construction schedules might be. There will be delays, of course. We'll have to close Head Lane up to, well, I think it's going to be a 90-day contract is what is probably going to be what Great West will determine. We haven't seen all of those bid documents as of yet, but they are forthcoming.
Thank you. All right. How about public comment on this item? Any public comment? Any public comment on this item? All right, hearing none. Commissioners, is there a motion to approve the bid award for Head Lane Bridge beams as presented?
Mr. Chairman, I would move to approve the bid award to Rinker Materials of Helena for the Head Lane Bridge pre-stressed concrete beam supply as explained by Mr. Horne.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the bid award as presented. Further discussion, commissioners?
No.
Just appreciate it, Kevin. Thanks for the explanation as well, and to the team. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. All right, next on the agenda is a bid award for fueling and magnesium-chloride systems. Good morning.
Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. For the record, my name is Jenny Chambers, Lewis Clark County Public Works Director. In front of you today is a bid award for the fueling of magnesium chloride systems for a public works complex. The project generally consists of replacing and relocating 2 magnesium chloride tanks and a fuel above ground storage tanks at our fuel island. On December 12, 2024, 2 bids were opened for the fueling and magnesium chloride system project. The project is the first phase of the Public Works Complex Master Plan. Funding for this project is a combination to include the American Rescue Plan grant, Road and Bridge Fleet Capital Improvement Funds, and an interagency loan that will be paid for covering the remaining cost not to exceed $335,000 back over a 10-year term at 4.75% interest rate of an equal split between the Public Works Department and miscellaneous general funds. As you guys recall, on April 12th, when we opened those bids, there were some pretty high numbers associated with those bids that did come in higher than our engineering estimates. We regrouped as far as a staff. I worked with myself, worked with the finance department director and the chief financial officer to come up with ideas on how we could fund this particular project. And that is a combination of these 3 funding sources in order to get that project awarded and get us to completion. After review of both of the bids and selection committee, staff recommends awarding the contract to Dick Anderson Construction Incorporated of Montana for a total bid amount of $966,808.36, and authorize the chair to sign any applicable and contract documents for this project. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions, commissioners?
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner.
it's my understanding, this was quite a bit more than I expected the bid to come in at. Is there a possibility to maybe cut some corners someplace as you're working with the contractor?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Rolfe, great question. We do anticipate working with Dick Anderson Construction. We had to do the notice of intent and the bid award. And then what we'll do is we'll meet with them like you would do in any typical project and really kind of dive more in deep into the bid and what they bid on the dollar amounts and what we're looking for a scope of work. So yeah, if there's ability to do some change orders, that would be deductive change orders that still get us to our goals that we need to do for this project by reducing the cost, we're certainly going to do that. That's why I mentioned on the loan amount, it's a not to exceed amount, meaning we'll not go higher than that. The idea is to come in under that amount for the total of the project. But still early to say right now where we're going to be able to make some cuts, but we do anticipate there's some areas that we can do some cost savings for the project.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, if I just might say, I've been really impressed with the work Public Works has done to try to cut corners and yet get the job done. And I think that although this was more money, quite a bit more money than we had anticipated to get this work done, needs to be done. And they found a way to finance that internally from another fund within the Public Works Department. And I appreciate finding a way to make it work. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Payne.
Jenny, I've looked at this, the facility we have right now and the work you're trying to get done out there. And one of the things that doesn't show up is the impact that this work will have on the neighbor. And the neighbor has children. And would you explain to the public a little bit about this is not just for convenience sake, this is to help take care of some of our projects that they need all of our help. Would you go into that, please?
Sure. Chairman, Commissioner Payne, So yeah, just to get a little bit of the background, in February of 2023, Public Works completed a complex master plan. And we first wanted to look to see if we were able to live in the means of the property that we have. Are we able, with future growth and development, stay within the 20 acres that we currently have for the Public Works complex? The short answer is yes. So you have to just utilize the property to the best of your ability in order to do that. The one main area of the recommendations is that the magnesium chloride tanks have met their useful life of their life expectancy. They're failing. We were lucky to make it through this last season, summer season, with those mag chloride tanks. As part of the project early on, we started working on this. Folks may know that Florence Christensen Center, located directly adjacent to the Public Works complex. They've done a ton of renovations. The county has been supporting them on many projects through some grant opportunities and some HUD funding to get that building renovated and for their use of that particular property. So to be good neighbors, we had to take into account their activities over there as well. Part of the HUD requirements for some of those grant funding dollars requires that you have a nice proximity from any kind of storage tanks, which includes our magnesium chloride tanks and our fuel storage tank islands. Because we were already looking at replacing the mag chloride tanks and we're going to relocate those to the side of the complex that we need to have for the master plan growth development, it only made sense that we looked at the AST portion as well, the above ground storage tank portion as well. So this is in combination of trying to match both those up there. If you guys recall, the original ARPA project was only for the magnesium chloride tanks. With some of the conversations with Florence Christensen, and they are kicking in a $25,000 match for us to move the AST tanks as well. We're kind of partnering on this particular effort long term. So yeah, it's a combination. We could have just said we're going to do the magnesium chloride tanks. That would have impacted Florence Christensen. It impacts our master plan. It makes sense to mirror both these together and relocate that. The good news is the project will allow us to utilize our existing ASTs, above ground storage tanks, while we are building the new ones, and then be able to demolish those later on. So we're going to not have any impacts to our operations as well. But yes, great point, Commissioner.
Thank you, Jenny. That was great.
Thanks. I was going to ask for the backstory as well, so don't have to do that now. Thank you, Jenny. How about public comment on this item? Any public comment? Any public comment? All right, hearing none, is there a motion, please?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the bid award for the fueling and magnesium chloride systems as presented by Jenny Chambers.
Second, Mr. Chair.
Moved and seconded to approve the bid award as presented. Further discussion, commissioners? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. All right, next item on the agenda is Resolution 2024-120 to transfer property between certain government entities. Good morning again.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, again, Jenny Chambers, Lewis Clark County Public Works Director. Today you have Resolution 2024-120 to transfer property between certain government entities. A little bit of background on this. The Montana Code annotated 78101 authorized the sale and trade of property to any city, town, or political subdivision in the interest of the that is necessary and of interest for us not to have to conduct our county business. The resolution will surplus and transfer by sale one of our 4 snow plows. The road division is replacing. We're looking at selling a 1999 International with 156,653 miles to the city of East Helena for a market value of $25,000. The resolution of intent was advertised in the Helena Independent Record on Saturday, December 14th and December 21st. And we accepted written public comment down at the Lewis and Clark County Clerk of Recorder's Office by 4 p.m. yesterday. Today is the time and date set for the public hearing, and there has been no public comment or protests received on this notice of intent. With that, the staff recommends the Board of County Commissioners approve Resolution 2024-120 to surplus the 1999 International Snowplow and transfer by sale to the city of East Helena for a market value of $25,000. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Commissioners, questions? This is great that you mentioned when this law came available to us. It's fairly recent, right?
Mr. Chairman, yeah, there's some questions about whether or not the law actually changed or whether or not how we're reading it was maybe just a different interpretation, but
Okay.
with clarification from our legal
We can do this.
staff, we can do this. We can look at our local political subdivisions and see if they have the ability to use this equipment prior to just going out on an auction site to get that surplus. So
Great.
the benefit for the Lewis and Clark County is still there with the giving it or selling it to the city of East Helena.
Great. And we have the mayor here from great city of East Helena. Mayor, if you want to address us, you're more than welcome. Good morning.
Yeah, commissioners, thanks for seeing us today. I'm Kelly Harris with the city of East Helena. I have with me today our Public Works Director, Kevin Orr, as well. I would just encourage approval of this item. I know that the 1999 snowplow with 150,000 miles does not seem like a big deal to the county, but for the city of East Helena, it's a big deal, and this could be a very valuable thing for us. So I would encourage approval of that. And furthermore, I'd be remiss if I didn't address just how important the partnership is with the county and our little city. You know, from Jenny to Kevin on down to your snowplow drivers, just the partnership we get from you guys and the professional operation you guys are really, really benefits our city every day, and we're so appreciative.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. And back at you. We really appreciate the partnership. Thank you, Mayor Harris. And I call it the great city because, you know, it's our home base. I'm an East Helena rat myself. All right. Anything else, commissioners, on this one? Okay. How about public comment on this item? Any public comment? This is a public hearing. You're welcome to make public comment about this item. Any public comment? All right. Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing. Commissioners.
Mr. Chair, I would move to approve Resolution 2024-120 to transfer public property between certain government entities as explained by Ms. Chambers.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the resolution as presented. Further discussion, commissioners. Again, just thank you. Thank you for working together. And it is a representation of our partnership. And my intent is to make sure we keep it going and work together as best that we can. It is for the same taxpayer in our community. The more we work together, the better efficiencies we find and outcomes. So thank you very much. All right, commissioners, with that, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. We move on. Next item on the agenda is amendment number 1 to the Interagency Memorandum of Understanding with County Public Works Department. Mr. Hayes, there you are. I see you. Good morning.
Morning, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. For the record, my name is Casey Hayes. I'm the purchasing officer for Lewis and Clark County. I'm here on behalf of Ann McCauley, Director of Grants and Purchasing today. On December 12th, 2024, the Board of County Commissioners approved an interagency memorandum of understanding between the county and the County Public Works Department for current American Rescue Plan Act funded projects that required formal obligation. At the request of Jenny Chambers, Public Works Director, an amendment to the interagency MOU is proposed to remove the heavy equipment wash bay project from its obligation of $68,360.72 and reobligate these funds to the magnesium-chloride and fuel tank replacement project for a total project obligation of $360.72. Additionally, a new section was added to the amended Memorandum of Understanding, see Section 6, stating that if available funds from other ARPA-funded projects that go under budget may be used to cover increased costs, attributable change orders, or contract contingencies for listed projects. This additional language aligns with the guidance from the U.S. Department of Treasury on how to best plan for change orders and contingencies for ARPA-funded projects after today, December 31st, 2024. Our request is to approve the Interagency Memorandum of Understanding Amendment Number 1 between Lewis and Clark County and the Lewis and Clark County Public Works Department in accordance with the U.S. Department of Treasury's American Rescue Plan Act guidance for obligating funds. Staff recommends approval.
Thank you, Mr. Hayes. Questions, commissioners? Simplify it. We obligated these dollars for a potential wash bay project at Public Works.
Mr. Chair, that's correct. So under the ARPA obligations, one of the projects was a heavy equipment wash bay. in order to satisfy the bid amounts for the magnesium chloride and fuel tank replacement project that was just discussed. We're essentially going to re-obligate those funds underneath that project. And then therefore, under this memorandum of agreement or memorandum of understanding, make this amendment so that if the Department of Treasury should have questions about how we've obligated these funds in the future, also then that if any other changes come down the pike here in the next year while we're working on projects, that there's another amendment to this memorandum of understanding that allows for that sort of dynamic ability to change.
Thank you. Again, any questions, commissioners? All right, how about public comment on this item? Any public comment? Any public comment? All right, hearing none, is there a motion, please, Commissioner?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve amendment number 1 to Interagency Memorandum of Understanding with County Public Works Department as presented by Casey Hayes.
Second, Mr. Chair.
It's been moved and seconded to approve amendment number 1 to the memorandum of understanding as presented. Further discussion?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to just take a moment to
Please.
comment on it. This is a kind of a difference in philosophy that we're dealing with here. The county received a whole bunch of money from the original Trump administration called the CARES Act, which had no contingencies on it. The philosophy under the Biden administration was specifics. We have to fall into their line of thinking in order to use the money. And it had to be dedicated at a certain time. It had to be committed by today and then finished by 2 years from today. This is an unnecessary burden that we're having to follow under the Biden administration's rules compared to the Trump administration rules, which were far more efficient for local government. And I just think it's worth noting that we're having to go through all these gyrations because of that extra demand that the Biden administration put on us.
Thank you, Commissioner. Anything else? How about public comment on this item? Any public comment, this amendment? Any public comment? All right, hearing none, is there a motion?
We have a motion.
Oh, we do have a
is on
motion.
the table.
I'm sorry, I apologize. I got off track there. Well, I'll just make a comment as well. I appreciate your comments, Commissioner. Being a taxpayer at all the levels, federal level as well, I'm glad that we have some checks and balances as well. At times it does become heavy in terms of making sure that we've crossed the T's and dotted the I's, but federal dollars often come with many strings attached, and we have to make sure that if we obligate them for a certain item and then we don't use them for that, if there's a process to reallocate them, and I'm glad that there is that process so that we can reallocate those dollars for another need. We've been able to do that, so I appreciate that. Okay, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, thank you very much. All right, next item on the agenda is Resolution 2024-121, amendment to the Resolution 2023-89, establishing the daily rates for incarceration at our detention facility. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Chair Hunthausen, Commissioner Payne, Commissioner Rolfe. I'm Troy Christensen, Detention Center Commander. Spelling is TROYCHRISTENSEN. And today we're just going over the daily rates for incarceration. So what we do is we take the total operating costs for personnel salaries and benefits, operational costs, fixed costs, and we get that total, and we take that, and we have 166 beds, and we divide that, or we have that 365 days a year, which comes to 60,590 people or beds used. And with that calculation, it comes out to be $121.99 per inmate per day.
And so this amendment to the resolution just establishes that daily rate for us.
Yes.
We're reevaluating that on a
Yeah.
regular basis to make sure that we're keeping up with the times and the number of beds and days and all of that.
Yeah.
Okay. Commissioner's question? Please.
Might, if I might, Mr. Chair, what is the rate we're getting paid by the state for housing their prisoners?
$92 and some change, I don't.
So we're losing about $30 a day per person from our actual costs.
From the Department of Corrections, correct.
Thanks for pointing that out, Commissioner. Anything else? No. Okay. How about public comment on this item? Any public comment? Any public comment? All right. Hearing none, is there a motion, please?
Mr. Chair, I would move to approve Resolution 2024-121, amendment to Resolution 2023-89, establishing daily rates for incarceration in the detention facility as explained by Troy Christensen.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the resolution as presented. Further discussion, Commissioners? I'll just comment that it's important to do this exercise because we really look at what the average cost is for detaining someone for a day, and it costs our taxpayers that money each day. So anytime we can divert someone from the system, help someone who maybe is in a mental health crisis or suffering from addiction, if there's another way to serve people in our community that is less expensive, it creates better outcomes. And we know that the longer someone spends in jail, the worse their outcomes likely are. So we have opportunity, and we've engaged in that through the process of processes with our Criminal Justice Services Department. We have therapeutic staff in our detention center. We do better evaluations. We try to understand if people are living with mental illness or addiction, and the efforts that we have to try and move people out of the system and divert them prior to engaging the system is really important. From the work on the street with our crisis intervention teams and the crisis trained officers that are out there and deputies to our mental health folks that are responding. It makes a big difference if we can keep people out of our detention center. It saves all of us dollars and we have better outcomes. So it's important. Anything else, Commissioner?
Just another thing, we've got a good bunch, quite a large contingent of folks here today, and I think it'd be well worth the effort if any of them would talk to their legislators to encourage that they pay us our actual costs for folks that are in the jail that are held by there because of the state's request. And if we can encourage our legislators to fully reimburse us for our cost, $30 a day per inmate, and going all year long, it comes to quite a large amount of money that it's costing the county to have state inmates.
Thank you, Commissioner. Yeah, it just reminded me as well that our pretrial services program, which is a program where a judge can defer someone to that program rather than detaining them in the jail, it's costs anywhere from, depending on the need of the person, $5 to $20 a day versus the $121 a day. So it's really important that we have these programs, we use them to their fullest, and we try to continue to find those efficiencies to work together and give our detention staff a break too. That when they have too many guests, it's very challenging and ends up being a dangerous place. We have people that are dedicated, work there very hard every day, 24/7, and they're putting their lives on the line often. And if we have that setting appropriately staffed and the appropriate number of people, and it makes it a much more safe and workable place to be. So thank you for the work you do as well. All right. Anything else?
I have just one other comment. I talked to people in our community about why in the heck are we treating this scum so well? And I'm reminding people the scum is our brothers, sisters, cousins. These are all beloved people to somebody. And we have a duty to take care of those who apparently can't take care of themselves. The voters in our community approved this kind of thing, the program that is run to help keep people out of jail if there's some way we can do it. I'm very proud of our community for coming up with this solution. I think it's very forward thinking, and I think it's probably one of the best social works in the state of Montana, because we're doing it here in Lewis and Clark County.
Thank you. Keep reminding me of things, and I know people are probably like, shush and move on, but we also been working very well with our partners in our community. I think that some communities are at kind of butting heads with the Department of Corrections and others. We work well with our friends and partners at probation, corrections, the county attorney's office, the public defender's office, folks from the detention facility and administration, the judges, working together to try and find solutions. So we're meeting actually every week to try and figure out ways to reduce the population in the detention facility and find ways that we can work together versus working against each other or blaming each other. So we have a good thing going, and I really appreciate those partnerships and the way we've handled ourselves. All right, I think we have a motion and a second on the floor. Yeah. Anything else? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Appreciate you being here today. And thanks for the, I guess, initiating the discussion. Next item on the agenda is interlocal agreement between Lewis and Clark County and the city of Helena.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, for the record, my name is Kyle Sturgill Simon. I'm the Emergency Manager for Lewis and Clark County. Before you is an interlocal agreement between Lewis and Clark County and the City of Helena for wildfire mitigation. Wildfire mitigation addresses one of the most prevalent and most damaging natural hazards in our county. City of Helena has been a strong ally in pursuing more and better mitigation actions, participating in numerous previous grant opportunities, as well as developing a strong wildfire mitigation mindset through their open lands program. To better support future wildfire mitigation efforts, an interlocal agreement between Lewis and Clark County and the City of Helena is proposed. This agreement allows for funding opportunities that become available to Lewis and Clark County to be more efficiently used within city limits. It also fosters a stronger relationship between the county's emergency management program and the city's open lands program. If approved, this interlocal agreement would allow the county to transfer funds to the city for wildfire mitigation projects. Amendments to the interlocal agreement would specify the project, its scope of work, its budget, and its funding source. Future projects can then be more readily scoped, budgeted for, and funded with outside grant sources. The agreement itself is proposed to last for 7 years, and staff recommends approval.
Thank you, Mr. Sturgill Simon. Questions, commissioners? How about public comment on this item? Public comment. Any public comment on this item? All right, hearing none. Is there a motion, please?
I just thought of a question.
Please, Commissioner.
Worry about things like liability insurance. And so if there's a fire up on Mount Helena, which is city property, and the county helps deal with that. No, this is for mitigation. Whose insurance covers liability if somebody breaks a leg up there?
For the city itself,
No, I'm talking, is it the city's insurance or the county's insurance if we're both entering into this agreement?
Gotcha. Pardon me, Mr. Chair. Commissioner, in the interlocal agreement itself, there's a portion that would indemnify and hold each other harmless from and against all claims for liability. So any actions the city or the county take would be our own or their own.
But if fireman Andy Hunthausen is up there and he is fighting this fire and he breaks his leg and sues everybody because, you know, that's a lawyer thing, sue them all and sue the ones with the money, whose does the city or the county, or do we just point fingers at each other and hope somebody stands up and takes it?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Payne, I believe the interlocal agreement Each party that acts would accept responsibility for their own actions and possible repercussions. And this is specifically for mitigation work, so it wouldn't be for any active firefighting measures itself. It's more for thinning fuels. There's going to be some pile burning, but more of the controlled fire manner, if that
God
answers your
knows
question.
that could never get out of hand. A controlled burn or the broken leg of a volunteer up on the mountain. I'm just sorry. These are things that concern me. It was a comment. I didn't expect a real answer.
Well, just to discuss that, it is mitigation. This allows us to go and get into partnership. If we have access to grant money, for example, we can, and we'll talk about that in the next item as well, but we'll be able to work with the city of Helena on a project, and likely either their staff or a contractor would be doing the work. That contractor would come with all of the contract items that we normally have in place, liability insurance and all the bonding and all of those kinds of things, likely. So just to add on to that, I think we're likely covered, but beyond kind of the scope of this item a bit. But anyway, anything you want to add, you're welcome to.
You can tell he's been a commissioner for, going on 17 years now? Thank you for your wisdom, Andy.
Last day of my 18th year today.
Oh,
All right, thank
Yep.
you. Thank you very much. All right, any public comment on this item? Any public comment? Any public comment? Hearing none, is there a motion? Motion, please, on this interlocal agreement.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the interlocal agreement between Lewis and Clark County and the city of Helena as presented by Mr. Kyle Sturgill Simon.
Second, Mr. Chair.
Moved and seconded to approve the interlocal agreement as presented. Further discussion, commissioners? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is amendment 1 to interlocal agreement between Lewis and Clark County and the city of Helena. Already.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, for the record, my name is Kyle Sturgill Simon, Emergency Manager for Lewis and Clark County. And yes, before you is an amendment to the previously approved interlocal agreement. Proposed is this amendment between Lewis and Clark County and the city of Helena that allows for funds to be transferred for the purpose of wildfire mitigation project within the city. The City of Helena Open Lands has proposed wildfire mitigation work within the Mount Helena City Park to reduce fuels and create a more wildfire resilient landscape. This work will cost no more than $22,475 and would be reimbursed to the City of Helena through the previously approved interlocal agreement. Utilizing this interlocal agreement to promote wildfire mitigation is what it was designed for. The administration portion of the agreement stipulates that the use of the agreement requires an amendment that includes a scope of work, a budget, and a funding source. Scope of work, budget, and funding source are defined in the amendment itself. The board has resolved its intent to use Title III funds for this project, which was described in Resolution 67 of earlier this year. And that Title III funding is funding that is brought through the county from the federal government for us to use on mitigation projects. And we're passing through this portion of those funds to the city for their project, if approved.
Thank you. Questions, commissioners?
One of the, just one of the things that really impresses me about the detail in our financing, in our finance office, there aren't just slush funds where things go in and they're used for specific purposes, money that comes in for specific things. And in this case, we're able to share some of that money with the city to accomplish a goal that we all have and to mitigate the potential fires that in the area around us. So, but how specific our budgets are is impressive, I think.
Thank you, Commissioner. Anything else?
No.
Appreciate the work as well. I think this is really important. I'm sure that some folks, and I get that way sometimes, that look at all of this is like, my goodness, all the red tape and the things that we have to go through. Again, government is designed to be cumbersome, messy, and very process-oriented. And so when we're dealing with the public's dollars, we need to have agreements in place. We need to know where it's going, why it's going there, and what purpose it's trying to serve, and make sure that that purpose is the intended one from the funding source. So it is one of those things that we must do, and in the end, it is a way to protect the public and make sure that we're representing them well with their dollars. So I'll just make that comment. Anything else, commissioners? How about public comment on this item? Hearing none, is there a motion, please?
Mr. Chair, I would move to approve Amendment 1 to interlocal agreement between Lewis and Clark County and the City of Helena, as explained by Kyle Sturgill Simon.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve Amendment 1 to the interlocal agreement as presented. Further discussion? Thank you, Kyle. Appreciate it. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next item on the agenda is a contract between Lewis and Clark Public Health and Brady Lidbeck. Is that right? I pronounced
Morning.
it correctly?
Brandy, but
Oh,
otherwise, yeah.
what did I say? Brady?
Yeah.
Brandy Lidbeck. Excuse me. I was thinking of the Lidbeck part.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. I'm Sarah Sandow, the Community Health Promotion Division Administrator at Lewis and Clark Public Health. Today, I have before you a contract with Brandy Lidbeck, who is a lost team consultant. The contract would be for $1,500 and would start with signature and be completed by June 30th, 2025. Lost Team is a suicide prevention model where a licensed professional and a suicide loss survivor go to the homes of people who have recently lost someone to suicide to provide support and connect to resources. The Lost Team offers survivor-to-survivor support, an installation of hope, local resources they can access, and a bag filled with helpful materials. After that initial contact, the follow-up team of Lost calls those newly bereaved on a structured interval of 1 week, 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, and 1 year after a loss, hoping to connect these people to supports and services in our community. Between July 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2024, 23 individuals received lost services. Ms. Lidbeck is a lost team consultant who has helped lost teams across the country start up. She was the consultant who originally helped us in our initiation phase a few years back. She will provide support to our local team on training new volunteers, some ongoing training for our current volunteers, and some guidance for our new coordinator. Staff recommends approval based on, if we can do it contingent based on number 13 in our agenda. That is where this funding comes from, is the grant award. That's 2 down in our agenda. So if staff recommends approval contingent on that one passing as well. And I'm here for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions, commissioners?
I was going to make a comment. $1,500 doesn't seem like we're paying her the oats are always cheaper if you run them through the horse first. So we don't want to do that. We want to get good help. Thank you for the reference to the other resolution.
Thank you.
So just a question, if folks are interested in loss, want to understand more about it, how do they find out more about it?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If anyone wants to learn more about the Lost Team program or become a volunteer or receive services through the Lost Team, they can go to our Lewis and Clark Public Health website, find our suicide prevention tab, which has a suicide prevention website, which they can find all the information about our Lost Team. And we would be happy to reach out if you let us know.
Okay, thank you.
Question. So if it's a friend of mine who, her son committed suicide, and I can get in touch with you and suggest that you contact my friend, is that correct? I don't have to be a family member or anything?
No, we would be happy as a Lost Team to be able to provide resources to any survivor, even if it was 20 years ago and you just never got the help you needed. The whole model is supposed to be timely and to those close family and friends, but sometimes you may not necessarily be a family member, but you are really impacted, and we want to make sure that you get the support and resources you need to. So you might just get a bag of materials if it was 20 years ago, and we'll talk to you about the resources, and you won't be in the whole process of getting a call a week later, a month later, 3 months. But we are happy to still provide those resources and support to anyone who needs.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very important
Yeah.
program. How about public comment on this item? Any public comment? Any public comment? And commissioners, then the motion would be with that contingency for passage of item number 13 as well. Is there a motion, please?
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the contract between Lewis and Clark Public Health and Brandy Lidbeck as presented by Sarah Sandow, contingent upon passage of item number 13 on today's agenda.
Second, Mr. Chair.
Moved and seconded to approve the contract as presented with the contingency in place. All in favor of the motion? Oh, anything else? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. All right, next item on the agenda is a grant award amendment to Lewis and Clark Public Health from the Montana Public Health Institute. Please.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. Again, I'm Sarah Sandow. I'm the Community Health Promotion Division Administrator at Lewis and Clark Public Health. Today, I have before you a grant award amendment from the Montana Public Health Institute for the Regional State Opioid Education and Naloxone Distribution Program. And so we often call it OENDP because we love our acronyms, in the amount of $9,876.25. The grant period for the amendment would extend this original contract that ended at the end of November, and it would extend it to February 28th, 2025. This amendment covers a few programmatic additions to the work, which would include a navigator training and surveying people who use drugs, helping distribute naloxone to our 12-county region, increasing the number of individuals trained to administer naloxone, and a final report. Naloxone is a life-saving measure that can help someone from overdosing on opioids. In the 2024 calendar year, we distributed 112 Narcan. There was some state issue with ordering in the end of 2024, so it probably would have been a greater number, but we had a low supply because of the state, but we now have some more supply, so we hope to be able to ramp up that distribution again. They plan to extend this one more time to cover March through August, so that in the end, this would cover a full year. If they do decide to extend it again, I will be before you again in February asking for one more amendment if we agree with all of their terms. Thank you for your time. Staff recommends approval, and I am here for questions.
Thank you. Questions, commissioners? Okay. Yes, hope the numbers get up there in terms of distribution. That would be great. And Criminal Justice Services has 3 vending machines, I believe. Are you the source of those?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. We use the state ordering system. Sometimes they're able to order through it themselves, and sometimes it goes through us depending on how the state has it organized. Now it all goes through us.
Okay.
And yes, we help stock it up. So we're
So hopefully
really good
that
partnership there.
Supply will be more consistent.
Exactly.
Great.
Mhm.
Good. Commissioners, anything? Okay, how about public comment on this item? Any public comment? Any public comment? Hearing none, is there a motion, please?
Mr. Chair, I would move to approve the grant award amendment to Lewis and Clark Public Health from the Montana Public Health Institute, as explained by Ms. Sandow.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the grant award amendment as presented. Further discussion, commissioners? Thanks for the explanation. Appreciate it. It's really important work. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Thank you. All right, next item on the agenda is a grant award to Lewis and Clark Public Health from the Montana Department of Public Health and Human Services.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. I'm Sarah Sandow, the Community Health Promotion Division Administrator at Lewis and Clark Public Health. Today, I have before you a grant award from the Montana Department of Public Health and Human Services, Behavioral Health and Disabilities Division, for the amount of $81,283. The project period is from July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025, but we would begin the work once the contract was signed. On average, 20 people die by suicide annually in the county. We have received this grant for the last 3 years to cover our LOSS team. LOSS team is a suicide prevention model where a licensed professional and a suicide loss survivor go to the homes of people who have recently lost someone to suicide to provide support and connect to resources. The loss team offers survivor-to-survivor support, an installation of hope, local resources they can access, a bag filled with helpful materials, and activity books if there are any children present. After the initial response, the follow-up team calls those bereaved at a structured intervals of 1 week, 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, and a year. The loss team decided to transition to a delayed response model on January 4th, 2024. The outcome increased shift coverage by volunteers and improved communication with survivors. So meaning instead of those volunteers going to the homes of those bereaved in the moment that law enforcement's there, instead they get a call within 24 hours and set up a time within that first week for the loss team to show up and give those resources in the bag of materials. The loss team responded to 100% of calls or reports from the Lewis and Clark County Sheriff's Office, Coroner's Division, through delayed or on-scene response, exceeding our goal of 80% response rate. All survivors were offered access to grief support materials, referrals to therapy, and the invitation to receive check-in calls from our loss team. Between July 1st, 2023 and June 30th, 2024, 23 individuals received loss services. Out of those 23 survivors, 6 utilized therapy services. This grant would also cover part of our Safer Communities Montana work. Since 2019, the working group Safer Communities Montana have centered on preventing suicides by intentional overdose and firearms. Through outreach, Safer Communities Montana leverages potential partners, identifies points of intervention, and provides customizable materials for Montanans to easily adopt and implement safe storage of lethal means. The group provides resource materials, posters, literature displays, gun locks, and deterra drug deactivation kits as part of the program. From July 1st, 2023 through today, we handed out 676 gun locks and 699 deterra packets. This funding will cover supplies, marketing, training, and resources for both of the programs. Staff recommends approval, and we're here for questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Questions, please. Commissioner.
Sarah, I'm not good with acronyms, and after LOSS, which I finally figured out is Local Outreach Suicide Survivors.
Yeah.
Then you spoke of, and I think one of the terms was gun lock, and the other one was deterra. You need to explain to me what the heck it is we're agreeing to, because I don't understand these terms.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the commission, Commissioner Payne. So when I refer to a gun lock, it's a trigger lock. So what it goes on to a firearm, and so but the goal is that it adds a moment of someone who's in a mental health crisis. It also provides other safety measures, of course, if you have kids in the home or if you are in a place where you want to keep your firearm safe. The goal through this program is that you add a little bit of time and space for someone who's in a mental health crisis. So if there is a trigger lock on it, it adds a little bit of time because you have to go find the key. The goal is that you put it somewhere else, put it somewhere safe so that it's keeping the firearm secure and locked. When I talk about deterra drug deactivation, thank you. It is a way to safely dispose of leftover opioids and other drugs. So it is a packet that's just, you could put it in a purse, you could put it in your desk. It's very small and you're able to, it's filled with a charcoal. And so you can put your leftover medications in there. You just shake it up with some water and then you can throw it in the trash. So it's a safe way to dispose of leftover medications. And again, we market it for suicide prevention. So if you have any leftovers, get rid of it. It's just safer for it to be gone if you're no longer using it. It's safer for you. It's safer for those who enter your home. But it's also, again, just a safer mechanism for any leftover medications you might have. If you have anyone aging in the home, for example, it's safer to get rid of unused medications, and it's a safe way to do it. You could also bring it into a lot of pharmacies have drug disposal boxes, but what's nice about this is you could do it at home. So it makes it a little bit more convenient.
More question. So does this include, I can see tablets, things of that nature. My husband has received, it has to do with he's on a blood thinner, so he receives this thing, and it's in these a shot syringe. Thank you. And I think we've got about 6 of them that have been around for a long time. How do I get rid of those? Is that part of this drug deactivation?
What is in the syringe you could put in there, it has different, it will let you know how many medications and how many of the different forms, whether it's in a pill form or liquid form, or how much you could put in there to safely deactivate. But I wouldn't trust a needle in one of those bags. So I would recommend bringing that into a pharmacy or one of those big drug disposal boxes.
It's great to educate people. Thank you.
Thank you for the question.
So you just mentioned right at the end there are drug disposal boxes. There are also programs and annual events that where you can bring old drugs that are past their time and date, or if you feel like they're a risk, they can be turned in. So this is really more immediate, and someone that maybe wants to dispose of those in an urgent situation or situation where there's a crisis potentially, I think is the focus in this for this program.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Can you just mention a little bit, we work with our partners as well, our gun retailers in the community, and they've been great partners in terms of recognizing folks that may be in need of assistance and distributing gun locks at times as well, I think. Is that correct?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. On our Safer Communities Montana coalition, we also have firearm dealers, we have pawn shop owners, we have law enforcement, we try to get the variety. We have people from the Tri-County region, so we have Jefferson, Broadwater, and Lewis and Clark County. So we try to get anyone who knows this topic well. So we know that we can't speak about a topic we don't know well. So we want to make sure that the people who are selling the firearms, the people who are doing the firearm safety classes, for example, we want to make sure that they're at the table so that we are doing correct messaging, that we know where the different points to reach people at crisis are. So we make sure that they're at the table. So we're really getting the best advice.
Thank you very much. Okay, commissioners, anything further?
I just, if Mr. Chair, I just would like to thank you, Sarah, for your dedication to this important work. Suicide is high in Montana. It's high in Lewis and Clark County. You're dedicated to trying to make a difference, and thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Rolfe. We have some really great staff at Lewis and Clark Public Health who I'm very grateful to work with. Thank you.
Absolutely. How about public comment on this item? Any public comment? Public comment on this item? All right, hearing none. Commissioners, about a motion? If we haven't made one yet.
Chairman, I move that we approve the grant award to Lewis and Clark Public Health from the Montana Department of Public Health and Human Services as presented by Sarah Sandow, and I don't exactly know how to hook it to the number 11 item, but that was contingent on passing on this one.
Thank you.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the grant award as presented. Further discussion, commissioners? Again, thank you very much for the work. Appreciate it. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. All right, next item on the agenda is a contract between Lewis and Clark County and Orion Planning and Design. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Lindsay Morgan, Land Use Planner for Lewis and Clark County. Attached in your packets this morning is an amended contract between the county and Orion Planning and Design regarding a comprehensive audit and update to the county's subdivision regulations. Funding for this project has been included in the Planning Department's budget. The original contract between the county and Orion was approved on March 3rd of 2022 in the amount of $90,000. The contract was then amended in February of this year to extend the completion date for the project until the end of this year. We also amended at that time both the liaison section and the insurance section. Today's proposed amendment to the contract is to further extend the completion date until August 31st of 2025. According to the scope of work under Exhibit A of the contract has been completed in 2 phases
Phase 1 was that comprehensive audit, and Phase 2 is the update to the subdivision regulations themselves. Phase 1 has been completed, and we are nearing completion of Phase 2. The anticipated completion date for this project would be no later than August 31st of 2025. As this contract has been vetted by both Grants and Purchasing and our legal counsel, staff is recommending approval of this extension. Do you have any questions for me today?
Thank you very much. Questions, commissioners?
Simple time extension.
Commissioner Ralph, you're exactly correct.
Yes, not earth-shattering. However, it is really important work, and an update to our subdivision regulations is something that we've all been anticipating for a long time, but we want to do it right. So this will give us an opportunity to make sure that we cross the T's and dot the I's and engage the public at the level that we'd like to do that. So taking a little more time is important. Okay. How about public comment on this item? Any public comment? Any public comment? All right. Hearing none, is there a motion, commissioners?
Mr. Chair, I would move to approve the contract between Lewis and Clark County and Orion Planning and Design as explained by Ms. Morgan.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the contract as presented. Further discussion, commissioners? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right. Are we doing okay? Need a break? Or are we ready to keep moving?
Going.
Okay. All right. Next item on the agenda is Resolution 2024-122, providing for additional support of the Lincoln Valley Collaborative Public Lands Management Proposal, that are known as the Lincoln Prosperity Project, I believe. So, commissioners, I'll introduce this briefly, and we can discuss and then open it up for public comment. I think a lot of people are here today for this item. The resolution that is before us is essentially an update of a resolution that we approved in 2019. The Lincoln Prosperity Project was worked on by a coalition of folks in the area. I have a list of all the folks that have, maybe not all the folks that are supporting it, but a large contingency of folks and organizations, businesses, and interest groups that have supported the project. So in 2019, we, the commission at the time, supported the project and signed a resolution of support, as well as a letter to our congressional delegation. And what has been presented to us now is an ask to just update those approvals or support documents because the project is continuing, and they're continuing to work on it and trying to get Congress to act upon this project. So I can look at the resolution maybe a little bit here. Just trying to hit some of the highlights so that we have we've introduced it adequately. I'll give you an introduction a little bit to the project from the documentation from the Lincoln Prosperity Group, and that is that they began engaging in a series of conversations about how to improve their quality of life in the Lincoln Valley through conversations. Community members identified numerous challenges and opportunities. Trying to jump ahead, make sure it hits. The draft agreement is a result of a community conversation that has occurred over the past 5 years. So this is prior to 2019. That's when this document came out. And it provides a positive vision for the future of Lincoln Valley, describes a path forward. It's our hope that this agreement can be implemented in the manner that unites the community and its many partners while building a better future for the valley. The issues that are described to be addressed are in the community dialogue and result of the agreement. Let's see, economic future of Lincoln Valley, the need for future forest restoration activities, expansion of sustainable wood products industry, lack of motorized and non-motorized recreation facilities, education, and marketing, the uncertain status of the key conservation lands, and the shortfall of outdoor educational opportunities for the valley's youth. So it goes on to go through all the different phases, but essentially this was a collaboration, a collaborative group that came together to propose a plan for the Lincoln area. And it has this, on this document, there's the Lincoln Blackfoot Community Council, Lewis and Clark County Commission at the time supported it. There's 6 recreation groups, Off-Highway Vehicle Association, Trail Bike Riders, Montana Bicycle Guild, chapter of the Backcountry Horsemen, Ponderosa Snow Warriors, which is a snowmobile group, and the Capitol Trail Vehicle Association at the time. There were 20-plus businesses in Lincoln that signed on. There were 5 large ranches that signed on at the time: Baldy Mountain, Chevalier, Gearing, Sunny Slope, Mannix ranches. Timber industry folks, Pyramid Mountain and Conifer Logging at the time, in 19. 12 hunting and angling groups signed on, 6 conservation groups signed on, and then there's about 80 individuals that signed on to support it from the Lincoln area. So there's a combination of both interest groups as well as businesses and users, recreationalists, and just citizens from the area. So all of that came together. And I just giving you the history on this. Again, this is just an ask for us to update our support for this project. The county has already signed a resolution in 2019, as well as a letter of support to Congress at that time, but it was a different commission. So that group, Lincoln Prosperity Group, came to us and said, would you be willing to update your documents with the new commission? So that's where we are today. I supported at the time because this was a coalition of people in the area, came together, said this is what we want to do, and it was a diverse group from politically right to left, and from users, from motorized to non-motorized, from conservationists to let's go find some good logs to bring home for the wood industry. So there was a large group, and then the businesses as well. So from my perspective, I said, boy, if this is a coalition of people and this is what you want, we represent you, so you want in your community, I will support it. So that's what happened at the time, just giving you the history. We are now at renewing these documents and whether the commission wants to move forward with that or not, and we'd like to hear from all of you as well. So I'll stop there, commissioners. Any comments or questions prior to this, and then we'll open it to public comment.
Which is fine. Let's
Anything
see what
else?
the public has to say.
Let's hear what the public has to say.
Great. So again, we're not approving this project, or there's no action on the ground that would be taken if the commission, this is just asking us as one of the groups on this list, will you re-up in supporting this effort? So they're asking us to put our support behind it. But we represent everyone in the county, so we want to hear what you have to say. So if there is public comment, please come to the microphone, state your name and where you live for the record, and let us know what you think. Please. Good morning. Make sure the green light's on there, if you would. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioner Hunhausen, Payne, and Tom, Rolfe. I'm from Canyon Creek, Montana. My name is Casey Fitzsimmons. I'm here today to ask that you not support this. I'm a local rancher off of Prickly Pear Road, where the Nevada Mountain Wilderness area would affect as a crow flies roughly 4 miles from our private property. We raise registered Black Angus cattle, but more importantly, we raise grass, and conservation is how we feed our family. And while we see that there is a need for some of this proposed stuff, it shouldn't all be lumped in together. Therefore, shouldn't, as you look at the maps and what they're proposing, the way that it expands from the Scapegoat Wilderness all the way over to Little Prickly Pear Road, I'd ask that you guys take the time to talk to residents in the Canyon Creek area, because I don't think they've been informed on this issue. In our area alone, there's about 2,200 to 2,300 head of cattle that run in that area. Between the ski hill, down into Empire, over into the North Fork, South Fork of Prickly Pear, down over into Chevalier Drive. And for the record, I'd like to correct that, speaking with Mr. Chevalier of Chevalier Ranch, he says that he does not support this. And his name is on the list, so you can take him off there too. But anyway, within that 2,300 head of cattle, it generates roughly $3.8 million on today's market with calf prices. Of that, you could probably eliminate 20% of that amount of money due to the fact that they're going to keep and retain heifers. But at some point, that 20% will hit the food market. And so for me, I was approached about this when I first purchased our ranch in Canyon Creek in 2008. It was probably roughly 2012, 13 about it. And doing my due diligence, trying to figure out if this is the right thing for our community. And trail systems, opening access up to public is definitely great for our community. But with wilderness comes fire hazard. And why did I bring up the $3.8 million? Is because we will displace that amount of head of cattle if a fire starts and comes down from Nevada Ridge or the Nevada Mountain down into Prickly Pear. We do not have the road systems to fight it effectively. We don't have the bridges to sustain water tankers to go across those. And then on top of that, by the time it hits and heads back uphill towards the ski hill and over into Birdseye and Skelly Gulch, I think we're going to have a mess on our hands. Sorry, I'm skipping around. We were given just such a short notice that this was going to be on the agenda, so I had to prepare fairly fast. But my biggest oppose of it is the 40,000 acres of wilderness. I like the principle of it, but we have to start managing our forest for the fact that the animals aren't staying within the wilderness because of the trees. And they talk about stream restoration. Well, streams all go into a gully. Well, in up Cottonwood, and I miss Judith Ann Vincent's here too. You can ask her questions about it too. And into Dead Man, those streams are being encroached with fallen trees. And in those areas, there's probably trees stacked 20 to 30 feet tall. And so the amount of fuel that's in there is scary. And every time there's a lightning storm, us folks in Canyon Creek get pretty nervous because when the fire starts, it's not going to be stoppable. And so we're more proponents to taking care of our forest rather than just letting our forest take its course. And I know that today that carbon emissions is such a big deal, and cows sometimes get the wrong end of that deal. But if you go back and look at carbon emissions on downed trees, and this is all internet-based facts, 10.9 billion tons of carbon emission, and so it's a metric ton, TONNES, is emitted by downed trees. Cows, livestock accumulate for 3.5 billion of that. So we're actually doing more harm by letting logs and trees and stuff rot away for our carbon footprint on the earth. So my question to you guys, or what I ask you guys to do too, is talk to the constituents that are going to be really affected by this. The traffic that it'll create, the parking areas, the waste, the dump, and then also being able to effectively protect the people of Canyon Creek with a 40,000 acre wilderness expansion in our area. And just to give you a perspective of what 40,000 acres is, it's 62.5 square miles. It's a huge area. Now, the Forest Service has a policy that states that they can fight fires to protect the safety of people on private property. But at the same time, if resources in a dry year distributed throughout the U.S. or out the west on the Rocky Mountain Range, what's the chances of them getting there effectively to fight that fire? So I just ask that you guys not support this. We all think that access to this stuff should be itemized, and we're not taking away, or if you oppose this, you're not taking away public use of land. It's all owned by the Forest Service to begin with. And so with those stipulations comes rules and guidelines that we already have to follow. You're not allowing less access to hunt, fish, or do any of that stuff. But the logging that they're proposing is not going to happen. If they could log it, the Forest Service would already log it. They can't log it because of litigation. And so what makes this thing make it so that they're going to be able to log those acreages that they've proposed. And stream restoration and all that stuff. Yes, we all want to keep our fish and allow for them to reproduce and do all that stuff. But in the logging thing, going back to the logging, it says on their website, I'll pull it up here, excuse me for. All restoration and fire mitigation projects will adhere to strict NEPA guidelines and protect endangered species such as Canadian lynx, grizzly bears, and wolverines. All three of those animals are frequently known to be in Nevada mountain range. So therefore, the logging will not take place. Now, I know that their pictures do not show that the Nevada mountain range is in the logging proportion of it, but further south it is. And guess what? Those animals don't stay in one area, so they will venture out. So the logging project will not take place. So, and then the other thing is it's going to foot a bill to us as far as getting home insurance. And I think as county commissioners, the main thing that is to make sure that your constituents have a free and an honest way to make a living. And for us, taking our cattle out of that area allows us not to make a living. And I don't think you guys can honestly say that you can effectively fight fire in the Dead Man, Lost Horse, North Fork, South Fork, Marsh Creek, Prickly Pear area due to the limitations on weight restrictions on the bridge. So I ask and hope that you guys do not support this. And if you have any questions, go ahead and ask them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fitzsimmons. Other public comment, please. And go Lions, by the way.
Mr. Chairman, my name is George Olson, OLSEN. I found out about this proposal last night, so I'm like Casey a little bit lacking information, which is exactly why I would propose that this letter not be sent. We too are property owners in that area. We're on Dead Man Creek, and we have no idea whether we're in it or out of it or next to it. But from the, I would say, poor map that's on the website, it appears that we are either right up against it or part of the wilderness area. Not in favor of that. If this is a Lincoln Valley proposal, I don't think Dead Man Creek is considered part of Lincoln Valley. Casey mentioned, but I'll second that we are also very concerned. We've had our fire insurance on our cabin go up a lot and have had scrutiny from the insurance company this last few months on our renewal, and are wondering what kind of effect having a wilderness area with the inherent fire danger next to us is going to do to the cost. Concerned that people who have property either in or adjacent to this proposed wilderness area have not been notified in any way. We're just, I guess, supposed to find out by osmosis what effect this is going to have on us. And the final thing I agree with a lot of what Casey said, the economics of it. Our place is recreational for us. We're concerned about both our own access to our property as well as access by the general public. We live on Dead Man Road. Our cabin is on Dead Man Road, and above that, before it was sold to Tom Hoffman, that property was completely trashed by campers, partiers, whatever. And so when Tom closed it off, it caused an uproar, but it sure cleaned up the area. So again, I'm hoping that you will at least delay until you get more information and would oppose at least the wilderness part of this proposal. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Olson. Appreciate it. Any other public comment, please? Morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. I'm Ashton Loomis. I live in the Helena Valley. And
I'm sorry, you said that fast. Say that again. Your name?
Ashton Loomis, ASHTONLOOMIS.
Thank you. Sorry.
I live in the Helena Valley, and I do not support this this initiative. I'd ask that you reconsider your support for this. I recreate in the Marysville Trail System that is very near to the Nevada Mountain proposed wilderness, and that wilderness would completely lock off that area and put it away. It could never be touched again for expanded multiple use recreation. And I'd also draw your attention to those other additional wilderness areas where they add on to the Scapegoat Wilderness in, I believe, 3 different chunks. And that expands more wilderness up there. And statistically, only 3% of the recreating public recreate on wilderness. That locks it off for many recreators, and also, of course, locks off the timber and mineral harvest that could be brought out of those areas. We're told as snowmobilers, some have been convinced that the copper bowls would be locked in and that snowmobilers could then never lose that area because they would preserve this area for snowmobiling. And I'm not convinced how that could be. How is that going to be locked in? How are we to trust that that will never be taken away? And I also have questions about the conservation management areas that are on that map. I don't know what that designation really is. In everything that I could find reading online, that is a designation that limits or prevents any future added multiple use recreation in that area. It limits it to what is there. It does not say that it could never be subtracted, but limits that it could never be added to. So I do not support it on those merits. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Loomis. Appreciate you being here today. Further public comment? Good morning.
Morning. Thank you, Commissioners. My name's Steve Eller, E-L-L-E-R. I live in the Helena Valley. I have friends who own property in the area near the wilderness designation. I won't be long for reasons you've already heard. I'm against the wilderness portion of this agreement and would request you do not support it in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Mr. Eller. Further public comment? Morning.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, my name is Ross Morgan, M-O-R-G-A-N. I'm here as a ranch foreman from north of Helena and also a board member of Rocky Mountain Stock Growers Association. I went to the initial or one of the initial proposals for this in Lincoln and voiced my concerns then. And I think the concerns have only grown on this issue or maybe timed out. My main concern is the wilderness designations and for fire mitigation. And I feel it's already taken a shift. We've seen a big shift in Montana in the last 5 years. And the topic was brought up earlier as the commission is supposed to work with the city on fire mitigation. So it seems strange the state is pushing for this big fire, and there's funds out there through NRCS, DNRC to mitigate fire, take trees out. And here we are going to tie the area's hands by designating wilderness, which you can't do anything in wilderness for fire mitigation. These conservation areas are supposed to stay how they are, so no more roads for fire mitigation and all that. So I think they need to go back and re-look at their proposal, because we're shifting into a fire mitigation strategy in the state, and this only hinders that. And also, to designate wilderness, to put in these conservation areas, mining gets such a bad rap. But again, let's look at how times shifted since 2020, and now we can't afford housing in the state, and all this, property taxes. Well, hunting and fishing is all good, but that supports service jobs, which don't pay very well. We need to, stuff that promotes good paying jobs, which is mining, harvesting natural resources, protecting our economies. So they need to go back and relook at their proposal. I think this, we can't get away from conserving either. But again, we have policy in place to already do that. So let's not tie our hands in restricting what we do in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Morgan. Appreciate your comments today. Further comment? Morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Jack Marks. Last name is spelled M-A-R-K-S. I rise this morning in opposition to this resolution. My brother John and I own a cabin on Lost Horse Creek drainage. And we routinely use this 40,000 acres for recreation. It's been our birthright as sixth-generation Montanans. And this wilderness expansion equates to me as a land grab that benefits few and harms many. And any support from this commission, in my opinion, demonstrates an egregious bias. One of my many concerns, shared by Fitz and George and others, is the fire response. Fuel reduction is imperative for our cabin, and wilderness designation removes those tools. Secondarily, or the negative impacts from wilderness expansion. The area has a long and storied past of logging, mining, and agricultural use. And a wildfire or a wilderness designation ends these beneficial uses and will negatively impact the economy in the area. So I implore this commission to reject any land management proposal that restricts access to public lands such as this one.
Thank you, Mr. Marks. Appreciate it. Any further public comment? Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioner. My name is Stacy Barch, S-T-A-C-E-Y, last name B-A-E-R-T-S-C-H. First and foremost, I would like to say I oppose this. I hope that you guys also would oppose this. The issues that were identified earlier, the fire issues that we have up in that area, I think they talked about how, from the beetle kill over the years, the timber up there is just a tinderbox. And we experienced that earlier this summer up on the Continental Divide over by Nevada Mountain. They had a fire in there, and the people that have homes up there were extremely concerned of it coming over the top of the divide and burning up their homes and their properties. So I guess having this designated as a wilderness area would definitely cause issues going forward with fire prevention. I know in our area, I have a cabin up there, up Lost Horse Creek also. That area, BLM is currently working on a logging project, about 750 acres. And it's really exciting to see the progress that they're making. The grass that's coming in, you know, where the timber was so terrible in there. And it would be, you know, I guess I would feel fortunate if Forest Service would take that same approach and try to get some of that timber out of their area also. But anyway, not only for the forest and getting the logs out of there. I mean, then if they created a wilderness area, it would also make it almost impossible to do any of the weed mitigation up there for noxious weeds, which that area is really a problem area. And anyway, I would ask that you guys not support this proposal. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. March. Appreciate it. Further public comment? Good morning. And just before,
Rolf,
oh, go ahead.
my name is Gary Peterson.
Mr. Peterson, before you jump in, I just want to state that you called me yesterday.
I did.
Wanting to discuss this issue. You shared with me some of your thoughts and ideas. I just wanted to share that with the commission and the public, because this is where we're supposed to have that conversation. And so welcome, and I'm glad that you're going to repeat yourself today.
Well, I understand, and I'm ill prepared because I didn't find out about this meeting till late yesterday, and I didn't think I was going to be able to participate. But I'm for the commission to turn this down. I don't quite understand people's thoughts, but Lincoln sitting up there, they've got 1.5 million acres of wilderness within a near a walking distance, but yet people want more. And a lot of people don't understand this wilderness thing. In the Bob Marshall, a few years back, it gets so strict, they had to take wheelbarrows out of there because they were, excuse me, a wheeled mechanized piece of equipment. So now the people at Schaefer's are dragging travois down the trail, tearing them up rather than letting a nice wheel roll. So people don't understand how restrictive this is. But for me, I am the president of Capital Trail Vehicle Association, and I'm not going to totally commit the club today. I didn't have time to go back in and research that the club had ever officially signed on to this. And I do want to research that, and if we can't find evidence of it, I would like to have our name taken off of there. But one of my main concerns is we deal daily, weekly, monthly with the Forest Service. Their rules, regulations are strict. We are lucky to have built probably about 5 miles of trail in the last 15 years. It's a long process to get everything approved. So if this wilderness is approved with the promises of all of these trails they're going to modify and build, there is nothing saying the Forest Service is ever going to let that happen. But the wilderness is there. So without any kind of guarantees that these things are going to happen, I don't think that this should be approved. And I don't foresee Congress approving it with a whole bunch of stipulations that you take this tree down, fix this trail, whatever. So I just can't see that as a group we can recommend that it be approved. It's one of them things that we've lost all of this area over there to riding ATVs already with the travel plans. And I'm afraid that this may add to that. So thank you, and I hope you consider it.
Thank you, Mr.
Would you say it's your name again, please?
You what?
Say your name again. I didn't get it written down.
Gary Peterson.
Thank you.
And what was the name of the group that you didn't think maybe was in support?
The what?
What was the name of the group that you thought?
It's Capital Trail Vehicle Association.
Okay.
We've been around this area. I think the club was started in about 1985, so we've been around a while. So,
Thank you, Mr. Peterson. Appreciate it. Further public comment? Is there any further public comment? Good morning.
Morning. Good morning. My name is Judith Ann Vincent, and I live in Canyon Creek on Lost Horse Creek Road. And my property backs up smack dab to this wilderness project. I want to, I sent the commission a letter this morning that I wrote when and at the crack of dawn. Dawn hadn't cracked yet, let me just say that, because we found out about this very late. So now that everybody else has spoken, I'm just going to say I stand behind everything that everybody that has spoken says. And it just goes the whole gamut. I was going to read my letter, but I'm going to present it to you to be included as a what's the word I'm looking for? Anyway, to be included in the minutes, because I want my voice and all of everybody else's voices to be heard. Saying that, I have written down some things that have happened since I got in my truck this morning to come in here to speak to all of you on behalf of my community that I work very hard for. We didn't have time to get a whole group. I mean, we've got a whole group. We've got a large group that is supporting us. But I think there are many, many more people that have no idea what this project is about. I thought this project was dead. I made a noxious weed trust fund grant proposal to this group many years ago because they've got such a horrible noxious weed problem in Lincoln and the surrounding area. That kind of went nowhere, which is fine. They can do, Lincoln needs to do what Lincoln needs to do, but they have come all the way over the top of the mountain and encroached on Canyon Creek for this wilderness area that doesn't even have a thing to do with Lincoln. I mean, people go from Helena to Lincoln, right down my road, right down Lost Horse Creek Road. They come up Marysville Road, up from Helmville, all over the places, go right up Lost Horse Creek Road and go from Lost Horse to Prickly Pear to Marsh Creek to Stemple Pass, wherever you want to go to Lincoln. They bypass us. So we're really not, for Lincoln to say, oh, well, we're just going to put this into a wilderness area. And not once did one person call any of us. Not that they should have. But, and I might add, Andy and Candace, you've had many, many chances to say something to me through the weed district and all of this stuff, to even let me know that this project was in the works. And being as involved with noxious weeds as I am, you had every opportunity to do that. So I'm kind of feel bad about that. The other thing that bothers me is on the agenda. This was put on the agenda as the Lincoln Valley project or something like that. Totally not even. When I looked at the agenda, I thought this doesn't have anything to do with the Lincoln Prosperity project. So then I went to Lincoln Valley. It says go to Lincoln Prosperity. So if Lincoln Prosperity is the proper name for this project, I believe that it should have been put on the agenda as the Lincoln Prosperity Project, so that if people are looking, they would at least know what the commissioners were talking about for this project. The fire situation is incredible. And last year, the North Fork, some of those people moved out of their house because of the fire on Nevada Mountain. They lived about 3 or 4 weeks in constant worry that their homes would be the next ones to go up in flames. That's not fair at all. If this was a wilderness, they couldn't do anything. Absolutely nothing. My dad and the Vincent brothers fought the fire in Cottonwood, were the very first ones on that fire in Cottonwood in 1950. My dad had a cat. John Vincent had a cat. They were doing everything they could with shovels to get that fire stopped until the Forest Service got there to do that. And I watched that as a very little girl from the campground. Let me gather my thoughts a minute. So I am asking you today to not go ahead with this endorsement. Give your constituents time to know what this project is about. Those people in Lincoln need to call us and say, this is what we are doing and this is what we're about. The maps are all every which way. The 40-page proposal that you gave to one of my your constituents yesterday isn't even on the website. So we can't even go and read that. So I'm asking the commission today to print out a copy of that proposal that you gave to John Pallister yesterday, so that the rest of us have a chance to read it and understand what Lincoln is talking about. I don't care what Lincoln does. They need to do what's best for them, but they do not speak for me, and evidently they don't speak for some here in your audience. So once again, and Eddie Chevalier and Denny Creech are on those on that proposal as supporters. I talked to Eddie this morning, as Casey said he did. He vehemently does not want his name on there. Denny Creech said his name shouldn't be on there. There's a petition going around Lincoln with supposedly, I haven't seen it, I'm supposed to get it, 1,300 signatures on it against this project. Now, I don't know if that's true, because in this days there's lots of shenanigans. So I don't know, but I think we need to quit the shenanigans and get down to the brass tacks and work between Canyon Creek, Fletcher Pass, Stemple Pass, and Lincoln, and figure out what is best for our area. But to be totally left out of this, any sense of this project, is totally awful. And so I just ask you to not endorse this project till we have some time to figure this out. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your comment. Is there further public comment? Morning.
Morning, Commissioners. My name is Peter Tormey, Tormey. I'm a
Name again?
Peter Tormey, Tormey. I'm a Helena resident, here just in town. I don't own any property up there, but I do use this area quite a bit, me and my 3 sons, to recreate. We do a lot of hunting up there. In fact, my oldest son, this was his first year hunting, and we used Judith Vinson's BMA to start our hunt and ended up in the area that would be wilderness, this designated wilderness area. We use our ATVs to go huckleberry picking. We camp in that area. And I just would ask that you not support this, as it's already a multi recreational use area. And there's just no reason that I can see from that perspective to turn this into a wilderness designation. I'd also just like to say I'm a huge proponent of wilderness areas. I donate monthly to the Bob Marshall Wilderness. I hike in there quite a bit. My kids and I camp in the Scapegoat, Heart Lake, that type of stuff. So I absolutely support wilderness in general, but this area, this Nevada mountain wilderness area, just doesn't make sense, and will end up just harming the multi-use recreational area in there. So for that reason, I'd just like to say that I hope you don't support this. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tomey. Is there further public comment? Further public comment? Any further public comment at this time? Okay. We'll close public comment for now. Commissioners, we are talking about the resolution number 2024-122, and it'd be time for discussion if you'd like to have some discussion around this.
I would like to have some discussion. I think probably anybody who's lived in Montana all their life has been impacted by forest fires. And whether you live up here in the mountains or out there on the prairie where my family's ranch is, Derby Mountain Fire went through our place. Of course, there's no fire insurance, well, there was for the house. The house didn't get burned. All the fences got burned. All those had to be replaced. It was a big deal. Okay. I've worked with ranchers all around. There's one over by White Sulphur Springs. They've got a lot of timber. They would like to have it timbered off, and they enter into a contract, or the Forest Service enters into a contract, and immediately there are lawsuits filed. And, you can, as my husband said, you can sue a ham sandwich if you want to. So that stops the Forest Service's ability to go in and mitigate the places where we've had the pine bark beetle mess. And I'm just struggling. I would really, really like to have that pine bark, am I saying that? Pine bark beetle, yeah, mess cleaned up. The Forest Service needs to do something. I can't do it by myself, but I recognize there are people out there who do not support letting the Forest Service take care of this. We have to, what this proposal, my understanding, is that they're trying to find a balance, a compromise. Now, I know compromise is not something that is popular. I know it's not popular in Canyon Creek, but in our whole political world right now, by golly, if you're a Democrat, you'd better darn well not support any of the Republicans, and you'd better, but that's not how you get things done. You get things done by the middle people coming together and trying to find a way to recognize that the other side, that there is some merit to their argument. That doesn't mean you agree with them, you just recognize we need to get rid of a bunch of that standing dead timber, so the rest of us can breathe. I have a little asthma problem, and that's my reason for wanting to get those trees cut and run through the lumber mill. On the other hand, I also know that there's a lot of people who have not had the benefits I have of living where you can, ride your horse wherever you want to, and it's open just because we're all neighbors. And so when you come in and talk to the commissioners, and we're really glad you took the time to do this, we have to look at both sides and all sides. And I really don't know enough. What really caught my eye was the hope to give the Forest Service more ability to get rid of the dead wood in the forest, get it under control so that we don't have the fire problems we do. I don't see any way. Forest Service is a governmental entity, and they're not going to be able to do that if every time somebody, that, okay, we're going to do 500 acres right over here by White Sulphur Springs. Immediately, there's a lawsuit filed. Nobody can do anything. Everything is frozen in place. We need to figure out a way to work together to get this problem solved. And I don't know if this is the right way or not, but it's up to all of us. So I appreciate you taking the time, even though it was short notice. Thanks for coming in and talking to us about it, and recognize that we don't represent just the 40 people that are here today. We also represent all those bunny huggers and tree huggers, the people who it seems like they always want to stand in the way of forest management, road building. There's two sides to every story, and we have to recognize that. So we listen. We try to do the best we can.
Thanks, Commissioner. Commissioner.
Mr. Chairman, I just I want to talk a little bit about what I've done over the last few days since I found out about this being on the agenda. I remember being contacted and going to a meeting with the folks that were making this proposal when I first got on the commission in 2021, and then it kind of died away and there wasn't much happening. So I assumed it was kind of on the back burner. And now to have it brought up now, I thought, well, maybe I better get a perspective from somebody from another county. So I called to Powell County and talked to one of the commissioners over there. And they had absolutely refused to support the effort because they felt like it wasn't right for their county. And he said, we've got a couple of different commissioners there now, but the commissioner I talked to was absolutely opposed to this effort in Powell County. So then I talked to a couple of people that I know that have properties up in this area, and they were shocked that this thing was alive and what it was doing. They remember hearing something about it as well. So I talked to a couple of people about it, and I don't know, maybe they contacted some of you folks as well. I do know that there's people up in Lincoln who've put a lot of effort in trying to build the business up there, the tourism business up there, and this is one of the things that they wanted to do. But I'm wondering if maybe this proposal wasn't built to try to present to the outgoing federal administration, and that maybe we need to redo a proposal that would be more appealing to the incoming federal administration. If there was one thing that happened in this last election that I think is absolutely clear, is that everybody wants to see public access to public lands. And they want people to be able to get out there and and enjoy the public lands. And it hit me that, I mean, why are we locking more up into wilderness? So I've got a real problem. We had in the election, we had a seismic shift in this country, in this state. I mean, this is the first time that there's been a solid conservative representation in the federal Congress from Montana. There's a change of heart in Montana, and obviously there was a huge change of heart nationwide. And maybe this proposal needs to go back and look at what Lincoln needs to ensure that there's opportunities for our recreation to help their community economically. But probably wilderness isn't the way to expanding wilderness isn't the way to do it. That probably what we need is to go ahead and create those trails that they've talked about, and make it possible for people who want to snowmobile to get into some of those fun places to snowmobile, and people who want to ride four-wheelers can get into some of these places and enjoy their life. And I think rather than taking a proposal that was probably developed with the idea of presenting it to the national administration that has been turned out, and to redevelop a proposal that is more attuned to the new administration that wants to see what the people of Montana very clearly said they wanted. They wanted public access to public lands. And that's what I'm hearing from most of you, that you want public access to public lands. I think maybe we've got something where we need to kind of go back and work with the folks in Lincoln to help them on how to build their tourist industry up there. But I don't think that the current administration that's incoming is going to be very excited about adding wilderness. And maybe rather than maybe we need to come back with this same proposal without some of those lockups, without the wilderness and without the conservation study areas, and just open those areas to the public and use them for the public access to public lands. It seems to me if we take this same proposal that was intended for the administration that's been turned out and try to propose it to the administration that who's just coming on board, it's not gonna go anywhere. But if we could go back and reduce the wilderness proposals and reduce the conservation controls, we might have a Forest Service that's more attuned to what the local people want, and that we can indeed do what everybody was talking about in the election, was getting more public access to public lands. I think if we don't do that, we're about as tone deaf as it's about like me trying to sing in a professional singing group, because I'm tone deaf. And I think if we go back this other way, maybe we're just being as tone deaf as to what the people really want in this country and in our state. So as it's presented, I would absolutely have to oppose the proposal.
Thanks, Commissioner. So a couple of things here. One, this is not our proposal. It's not the county commission's proposal. We did not bring this forward. We're just being asked to consider it as one of the supporters on the list, like all the other people that have been on the list in the past. And maybe like some of the other members that have supported at one time, maybe the majority of this commission won't support it at this time. Now, a couple of things about what I heard today. one, I wanted to clear that up, that it's not our proposal. Two, the reason that this is, in some sense, not the nuts and bolts of the proposal necessarily, but the way it was done. This collaborative effort and using collaboratives to try and address all the interests that are out there, I think that's really important. And having people at the table. One of the things I heard clearly today is that some people don't feel like they were at the table or had an opportunity to talk about this. A couple other things is that I would disagree with Commissioner Rolfe in that it had to do with some administration, because I think this started back in 2008 or whatever, and it's been going on, and I think wasn't presented to, didn't want to present it to Congress until they had this collaborative and enough people on board and enough. I think the effort was to try and have enough there that everybody got something. No one liked everything about it, but everybody got something, I think was their attempt. And I think they thought in 2019 that they had that there. They've been proposing it to Congress. Congress has not taken it up. And I think at this time they were like, well, we want to take a fresh ask of Congress to take this up. So we want to go back and refresh all of our support letters and our support from those people that did come forward and support it. So I think that's what they're trying to do. But it speaks to me today, hearing from you, that you feel like you would like time to understand it better, maybe have some more input. And as Commissioner Rolfe said, maybe there's some tweaks or better ins and outs or parts of this thing that it could be there. Now, one thing that they did work really, really hard, and I think they really tried to bring as many people to the table as they could from all different walks of life and all different interests. And there is proposals for more motorized vehicle trails. It's all public land, so it all has public access, and we can go there. It just depends on whether it's a road or a trail or how we would go there. So it is public lands, and the public can participate on any of it. This is all Forest Service. But there is, if you read it, and that's what I would encourage people to do, is really study the document and ask a lot of questions to the folks that brought it forward, because I think that what they tried to do, from my perspective, is they tried to have every interest get something in this proposal. And today, I think folks focused a lot on the wilderness piece of that, and that was part of that group's interest in getting that. And then there's other areas where other people would get, or other interests would be recognized. So I appreciate their effort and their intent and what they were trying to do in this effort. I support that kind of activity. This came forward in 19, and we had at the time myself, Commissioner McCormick, Commissioner Giese, both would be more conservative, and I might be on the more liberal side of things, and all three of us supported it at that time because it was brought from a collaborative. It was like, for example, if Canyon Creek came forward and said, hey, the area around Canyon Creek, this is what we want to do, and we have the great majority of our community that wants to do this in this area. It's like, well, why would I oppose that? The people that live there and are proposing this want to do it. So that's kind of where it came from. And I think that's the way that it was presented to us. But obviously, the majority of the work with the public and the entities was on the other side of the mountain. That's what I'm hearing from you today. So, commissioners, with that, I might suggest that we take a couple of months before acting on this and ask the Lincoln Prosperity folks to engage more fully with people that are interested in adding their voice to the mix. Maybe you've already done that, maybe you haven't. But from my perspective, if a group comes forward with proposal to work in their community in general, and it is supported by the great majority of that community and the entities, then you know that everybody's got something they want, and a lot of people are frustrated about some things they didn't get, but it is a compromise and an effort to work together. So I would like to see that, and I'd like to be able to support something like that. Commissioner.
One more comment. Okay, I'm looking out there. If this is a locally supported project, why don't we have any of the supporters here? The person who brought this to us, if she was doing her job, should have lined up about the same amount of proponents. The list of people who support it, the list has been attacked today. There've been a couple, 3 or 4 people sitting, I talked to so-and-so and they said they don't want to be on the list. Those people need to be here. This word of mouth stuff is really challenging for the commissioners. I agree with Andy. We need to go back to the drawing board, look at this a little farther. Pretty much I want to do whatever we can to get the damn forest thinned and those dead trees out of there. We need to do that. That's in the best interests of not only me, but my grandchildren and all of yours. So if somebody can figure out how to do that, that'd be great. If you are going to bring this again, then please bring your supporters. It's important. We have a real close connection to our community. We know the people who live out there and, you know, is my brother's uncle's second cousin or something, but that's the way it works in Montana. We need to have the local input. It isn't like we have 2 billion people here. We don't. We have a small population. We all know we have to work together if we're going to get something done. And I'm not fully trusting of new people who come wandering in and say, by golly, we need to do it this way. So I'm willing to move forward with Commissioner Hunthausen's proposal that, and I don't know if you want to put this on the table for a while or how you want to
Well,
address this.
let's discuss that a little bit. And just a comment, I know that the lead person for the Lincoln Prosperity Project that has met with each one of us at a different time, just describing the project. She's not even in the state right now and did say that they would be open to continuing the conversation if this was not in the cards today. So I know that feedback came from the interaction that they've in their proposing these documents to us, getting these documents to us and all of that they wanted us to consider.
So this is another out-of-stater telling us how we should live.
No. From Lincoln, lives in Lincoln, but is out of state.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, one other thing I'd just like to say, I certainly don't want to disparage the people who were trying to find a way to increase the tourism in Lincoln. And I think they've spent a lot of time trying truthfully to do the right thing. Maybe somebody convinced them that the answer in the past was to add wilderness. I don't think the answer today is to add wilderness. And I would like to work with them to see if we can't come up with something that increases the economic viability of their businesses in Lincoln, and to encourage all people to have access to public lands. One of the problems I've got with wilderness right now, I've got members of my family that are physically disabled, and they would like to be able to go up there and stand in front of the wall. You know, they can't. They can't walk in. They can't ride a horse in. You know, that's not all people having access to a wilderness area. We got to find a way to create access for all people, including disabled folks that would like to go back there to enjoy some of this stuff. And you can't, this idea that you got to get rid of a wheelbarrow because it's a mechanized outfit, this is taking wilderness way too far. We got to we got to find a way to open public lands to the maximum usage of the public. So I'd love to work with the folks to from Lincoln who see an opportunity to increase their business to, and I'd love to work with people that want to see all people have public access for the people in all of our public lands.
Thank you, Commissioner. All right, well, what I would suggest, Commissioners, is that we maybe consider tabling this item. And Commissioner Payne, it is likely that you will be the chair in 2025. That's coming up on our agenda here to elect our next chair. So at some point in the near future, whether that's 2 months from now or 3 months from now, you know, you or two commissioners could put this back on the agenda if we were interested in doing so.
If we had appropriate support from our constituents. We work for the voters.
That's what I'm saying. If there were interest in doing so, it could do that. And maybe the feedback to our friends that have, and the collaboration has worked so hard to put this together, that they maybe have some work to do. The notes from this meeting and this meeting's recording are available to them if they want to learn about that feedback and where they might have opportunity to work with more members of the community to find a compromise that works for everyone. Is that something that we'd be interested in?
Do you want to
tabling it at this time?
Do we just?
We'd need a motion.
Table in general and
just, yeah, we'd table it if, I'm just making this up, but if 2 months from now we said, wow, that, you know, there's a proposal that is something we want to take a look at, a new agenda item would be created and a new resolution would be created and all of that kind of stuff.
And I would sure like to see that we maybe give the public 2 or 3 weeks of notice, you know, ahead of time. If something that has this much interest, we want people to have an opportunity to express their views.
What would you think of having it as an agenda item on our Lincoln Government Day meeting? Like not this month, but in February, some other time. Or because these people are not from Lincoln, they're from areas outside of Lincoln that are impacted. So maybe I'm just trying to come up with a solution that'll.
Well, I think tabling for now, and then if there's an interest in putting it back on, we can cross all of those bridges and how we make sure the public's informed and get it out through different networks or whatever it might be.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we table the resolution 2024-122, providing for additional support of the Lincoln Valley Collaborative Public Lands Management Proposal.
Second.
Moved and seconded to table the resolution at this time. Commissioners, any further discussion? All in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
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 Okay. Tabled. No, please.
It's a public meeting.
The next item on the agenda is support letter for the same effort. And due to the former conversation, commissioners, we will sure take public comment again, but it's unnecessary to repeat yourselves unless you'd like to. But they are related. It's a support letter to Congress for this effort. So commissioners, are there questions about that support letter or comments about that support letter?
Do we do another motion to table?
Well, that's likely.
That's what we need.
But
Okay.
we'll go through the process here first because it is its own agenda item. So
It is.
there any further comment about it from you? And then if there is any public comment about this item, you're welcome to make comment.
He's a troublemaker.
Good morning.
Commissioners, Casey Fitzsimmons. Again, in order to create income in Lincoln, Montana, which has been stripped away through government process and lawsuits, the simple amount would be to log and mine your resources that are available to you. And so I'm kind of disappointed that you're tabling it. I think that the support is not as big as it should be, but or that for consideration. But government has got in the way of commerce in Lincoln, Montana, and that's why they're trying to do it. Cattle alone in Canyon Creek far surpass what this will provide to Lincoln, Montana. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fitzsimmons. Further public comment? Any further public comment?
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, Ross Morgan, MORGAN. Yeah, for all the reasons said before on this, I just want to add, because a couple new things were brought up. One on the constituents, and the whole collaborative effort. I get it was a collaborative effort. I get everybody, a ton of hours went into this. Ton of this, a ton of this. Well, a ton of stuff can go into something and still come up with a wrong solution. And this is a wrong solution mainly because it focuses on tourism, one entity of the economy. You shouldn't make a broadcast across everybody on one aspect of the economy. And two, the constituents, I know we all got, luckily Fitzsimmons let me know about this. I want to speak to Eddie Chevalier not being here. He just got notified he was on that today, this morning. You can't ditch what you're doing to come to a meeting every second of every day. So there's times when you can't be at these. So hearsay is hearsay. We will give you his number. You're welcome to call him because it won't be hearsay. You could speak to him and he'll say that he doesn't want on this list anymore because things change. Maybe initially he said yes, but yes, he would be the one to ask. And I hope maybe you reach out to him and give him a call and get his opinion. And two, again, speaking to the constituency, I know we're all here against it, but again, there's been a shift, and Mr. Rolfe brought it up. And yes, this may not be focused to the current administration, but Lewis and Clark County's been blue a lot, right? It's a 50-50 county, but mainly goes blue, right? This year, not so much. Trump won. Gianforte won. Austin Knudsen won. There's a shift. So constituents, I think, have shifted in this county too. So just something to keep in thought. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Morgan. Appreciate it. Further public comment? Any other public comment?
Judith Ann Vincent, Canyon Creek. I've just had the thought that this proposal, if I understand correctly, is from 2019. I don't know if it's been updated since then. I would surmise that somebody probably said something somewhere in that 6 years. But we're going into 2025. And I truly believe that that Lincoln needs to work with Canyon Creek along with the scapegoat and there are too many entities in this that don't have, they're scattered. They're not precise. And I believe that we need some precise understanding of exactly what this proposal is going to do for everyone, not just Lincoln. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Any further public comment? Any further public comment?
Thank you, Commissioners. One of the things I wanted to bring
If
up.
you'd introduce yourself again for the
Gary
record.
Peterson. I'm
Thank
sorry.
you, Mr. Peter. No worries. Thank you.
One of the things I wanted to bring up, and Commissioner Payne is concerned about, all of these dead trees laying in the forest and the forest fires and that. Well, our club does a lot of volunteer work towards these things. Now, we work with the Forest Service. We were let known here just recently that next year's budget is going to cut out all temporary firefighting help. So there's a chance down the road, if these budgets stay the same in that they are going to be short of help. And it's, this came right from the Forest Service. So they're kind of scrambling. They're all right this year, but next year they're asking, our club is taking first aid courses, chainsaw courses, all this kind of stuff to help out in case we are in need, which we have been in the past. And one other comment that goes back here, out in the fire out here in the big belts, that was proposed to be logged and cleaned up. A lot of it. There was some trails, roads to be opened, and some clear cuts, some commercial logging, all this stuff. Well, our Greenie friends got in there and got that stopped by lawsuit. Not only that, the Forest Service paid their legal fees. A lot of people don't understand that if you sue the Forest Service on one of these mitigations and win, the Forest Service pays your legal fees. Well, after they won this, they put out all kinds of publications. How much good they done, saving the grizzly bears and saving the elk and saving the moose. After the fire came, they sure didn't put out a publication stating that there was no more deer and elk and moose to live out there. So that's another thing you can think about in this decision. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Peterson. Appreciate it. Anybody else? Anybody else? Any other public comment on this item? Okay, we'll close public comment and commissioners' discussion or a motion, I suppose.
You know, Mr. Chairman.
Please.
I just think that the support letter is, at this point, is moot. And we just have to wait and see if there's something comes up that the whole community can support. And I would just let it die where it sits for right now.
Okay, any other comments? We'll have to table it. We'll have to table it.
I was going to say, we have to do,
Yeah, we have to take action on it.
it's black or white. We've got to flip the switch.
Right. I think that's what you meant by letting it die, tabling it.
No, I just think we should let it die because there is no reason to have it at this point.
Well, I would, I think that it goes along with our last item, and if we're.
I move that we table item number 16 as we did item number 15. So let's put it on the table. We can think about it if we want to, or it can just disappear. Motion to table.
Second. It's been moved and seconded to table the support letter to Congress as presented. Further discussion.
I'm going to vote no because I think we should just let it die at this point. And if something comes up that we can support, that then we'll look at something again. So I will vote against the motion.
Okay, and I would just let you know that tabling it is essentially killing it at this point, and if it were ever brought back to the surface, it would have to be a completely new item, and the letter could be completely different or to different people or written differently. I mean, it's tabled at this time. Did you have something you wanted to add, Mr. Hash? Okay, so tabling it is killing it until it's brought back. If somebody has an interest in bringing it back, or the commission in the future, either this letter or something else, if they come with a proposal that is something that is more universally supported, then another letter of support could be written at that time. So it's essentially does exactly that. It kills it for the moment. So anything else?
Can I call for the question?
Yes. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Aye.
The item is tabled, a 2-to-1 vote. Okay, thank you all for coming. If this was the last of the items that you were here for, you're welcome to leave. You can stay if you'd like, but we're going to move on our agenda to our next item. And if you're leaving, please do it quietly because we have other items on our agenda. Thank you very much.
Make sure you sign the sign-in
Yes.
sheet with your phone number.
And that is a reminder, please sign in if you haven't signed in so we have a good record of who's been here and we can also contact you if this comes up again. All right. Let's take a brief pause. We only have a couple more things here and we'll be done. All right, the next item on the agenda is board appointments for La Casa Grande Water and Sewer District. Mr. Baltz.
Mr. Chair, these items are actually from Connor Fitzpatrick.
I'm sorry, Mr. Fitzpatrick, yes. I just assumed. Apologies, thanks for the correction. Good morning, sir.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, good morning. Apologies. Helena's a small town. Someone knew my parents, so they wanted to say hi. I bring before you today a couple of board appointments to the La Casa Grande Water Sewer District. Both Jacob Charles and Edward, I apologize, Edward, if I mispronounce your last name, Civils, have both been on the board prior and just missed the candidate filing earlier this year and decided, oh, we would like to continue serving the board. So that is why this is an appointment rather than a elected by acclamation, because they are catching up after the original candidate filing date has passed. So both these gentlemen are residents and registered voters of the La Casa Grande Water Sewer District. Therefore, the election staff recommends appointment for both of these folks for a full 4-year term. So concludes my presentation. If you have any questions, happy to answer.
Thank you very much. Procedurally, we need to take them separately if it's okay. In this case, we don't need to. We can take them as a.
They can do them, but we can do them both at the same time?
Fair, correct. Okay. Any questions, commissioners? How about public comment on this item? Any public comment? All right, hearing none. Is there a motion, please?
Mr. Chair, I would move to make the appointments of Jacob Charles and Edward Sevius to the open director positions on the La Casa Grande Water Sewer District Board.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the board appointments as presented. Further discussion, commissioners? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Mr. Fitzpatrick.
Thank you, Commissioners, and Happy New Year.
All right. We've come to that time in our meeting where we select our new officers for 2025. So I guess the simplest way to do this is that one of us would make a motion to nominate maybe well, we could start with the chair. Nominate the chair for 2025. You want to make that motion? And
Mr. Chairman, I would move to nominate Candace Payne as our chairman for the calendar year 2025. And I would just like to, in a comment, say that the tradition that was started many years ago for commissioners to be the chair in their 3rd and 6th years really makes some good sense. It seems to work out pretty well and gives everybody an opportunity to be in that leadership for a while and then to be and to be kind of put that little extra effort over to the other person. So I think it's a good way of running the show. Thank you to you and whoever else came up with that idea. And anyway, my motion is to elect Candace Payne as our chairman for this coming year.
Second. I'll second that, and I appreciate your comments, Commissioner. I'd like to take all the credit, and as far as you guys know, yeah, it was all my idea that we do it. But any further discussion about that? Or I guess even other nominations? Let's close nominations. How about that? I would comment as well that it is a good process, and I think it takes a couple of years to kind of get your legs under you in this job, understand the process and how things work, and then the 3rd year getting to be the chair, and then the 6th year, it's kind of an honor, the year that you would have to run again if you chose, or the year that you would be leaving office, you get to be the chair again, and it's kind of an honor to do that, I think, as well. So I agree with your comments. Thank you very much. Anything else? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Congratulations, Commissioner. Now,
Thanks, I think.
we would need a nomination for vice chair. And that
I nominate Commissioner Tom Rolfe.
second, moved and seconded to nominate Commissioner Tom Rolfe for vice chair. Any other nominations? Hearing none, we'll close nominations. Any other comments? All right, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. All right. And I get to be the member. That's very exciting. I'm back to low status. It's good. It's good. I would make a couple of comments, so commissioners, and just thank you both for your support during my year as chairman, and I've appreciated it, and it's been an honor to be the lead up here, and looking forward to what is to come in the next years ahead of us. So thank you.
I just want to say that I really appreciate working with you. Though we don't always agree on things, there's most of the time we can kind of figure things out and come up with a way to move things forward in that we all can live with. And if somebody decides to be a curmudgeon like me once in a while and vote against, and nobody gets too badly upset. So I appreciate the great collegiality and the way you do things. I appreciate your great expertise and longevity that answers a lot of questions for me.
Well, thank you, Commissioner. I really appreciate that.
I have a logistics question.
Uh-oh.
Okay. I am serving on, okay, you get to be the third. This was your sixth. So next time you serve as chair, you would be in your
Third year of that term.
but what, so I'm thinking, what year is this? Let's see. This
26 will be Commissioner Rolfe, 27 would be.
27, then you would be back. Okay, that worked.
There you go. If I count, math is not my deal, but.
Not mine either. It's a good thing we got Tom here. He's.
If I used my fingers, I think I got there, 27. That's I'm pretty sure. All right, anything else, Commissioner?
I like this system. Tom and I don't always agree. Andy and I don't always agree. But we do talk about it. We obviously are trying to do the best we can. It isn't about a personal issue. It isn't about we get a political directive from the Grand Poobah. We talk to our constituents and do what we think is the right thing. And what a country. Good for us.
You bet.
Thank you. I'm honored to serve as the chairman, and I will expect you to sort of keep me lined up and within the traces where I'm supposed to be.
We'll be there for you, right? On each side of you. Try to help you out.
Frightening.
All right. Anything else? Okay, how about public comment on any item that's under the jurisdiction of the commission but not on today's agenda? Is there any further public comment? Any further public comment? Hearing no public comment, we will stand adjourned. Thank you all very much. Happy New Year, everyone.